What's up, everyone? It's Griever here, bringing you guys another type of manga review / more of a discussion this time, because this time we're talking about a brand new series released on Viz this week or this weekend, Blue Box. Now, to me, I was actually initially really shocked because to me, this is not Shonen Jump. This is not Shonen, this is Shoujo. This is a sports shoujo manga, in my opinion. However, I'm not upset by this. It's following more of a shoujo storyline, and I've read a lot of shoujo, I've read a lot of sports mangas, so I'm seeing a shoujo sports manga, which is not a bad thing, but right out of the gate, I was really shocked when I saw the art style, and when I saw the direction the story was going, and the genre choices that they were going with this one. I just went, that's what this is, but apparently it's in Shonen Jump, but that's not a bad thing, because I think that's excellent. I think that's really breaking up the mold, because once again, as you guys all know, romance, I think, is one of the best genres to include in any story. Regardless your medium, I think romance can only enhance a story. It very rarely, if never, takes away from the story, assuming that the writing was good in the first place. So in this case, it's really nice if this story gets picked up and gets to continue, which it seems that it is. I don't know the full details yet because it's the first chapter and stuff. Of course, we got the extra long chapter, as we do. And but right out of the gate, I just really enjoyed it. You know, because I read Black Clover, My Hero Academia, One Piece, Dr. Stone, all good, all Jujutsu Kaisen, all good mangas, you know, in their own way. Some great mangas, some okay mangas. But all battle shonen. It was very nice to sort of break this up with a little bit of romantic, you know, slice of life, a little bit of some comedy, a little bit of some shoujo elements in my daily Viz reading, right? In my weekly Viz. It was just really nice right out of the gate. But anyway, let's get straight to the review on this one because, as I said, I'm already enjoying it. It's a really good opening chapter because you don't really know the direction it's going to go. Now, I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, not the biggest fan of our male protagonist here. I really enjoy the female protagonist of Chinatsu. I'm going to butcher these names, guys. I'm going to butcher them until somebody tells me otherwise. But Chinatsu, who is a first year, so she's like 15, 16. She's a first year high schooler. But their school is combining basically grade 7 to 12. They combine, their school is their campus, their academy is quite large, which happens in bigger cities and bigger places. So this school is that large, and so the main character is definitely only about 15, and he's Taiki? I guess so, Taiki. Once again, I'm bad with the names. But he is an okay guy. He's a third-year junior high student, and he's okay at badminton. He's not great, but he's not bad, and he enjoys it. But they're all just that kind of thing. She, however, is a star, and he really likes her. He really likes her right off the bat, and you know he's just sort of going through. We sort of monologue with him. We meet a couple characters along the way, and all he's thinking it's sort of his first crush. He's about to become a high schooler. He's in, you know, late junior high, and he's of course experienced the blossoming of first love, your first crush, and so he's looking at this, and once again, he's got a little bit of that simping attitude. So once again, not exactly the major fan of his, but he's not simping as hard as a side character simp would in a shonen. He's a little more well developed. He seems to realize when he's done something a little embarrassing, or when it's like, okay, and he gets embarrassed. But once again, he's a 15-year-old kid crushing on this girl. He doesn't want to make an idiot of himself. He's trying to set up scenarios where he says something cool or impresses her and stuff, and that's what we all did in high school, so I get it right away. You like a girl, you're embarrassed, you don't want to make a fool out of yourself, you want to be seen, but you don't want to be seen badly. It's a bit of a turmoil thing. It goes on with girls too, I imagine. So, the thing is here is that she, like, right out of the gate, we don't really get the impression that she dislikes him. We don't really get the impression that she likes him either, but just more of she's an MVP of the women's basketball team. She's really good at it. Unfortunately, last year, when she was a third-year junior high student, they lost their spot going to nationals. And so she was I'm jumping around a little bit here because I'm not going to go through the whole chapter. The review would be 40 minutes long if I had to go through page by page. But suffice it to say, this is what we learn of her character, is that she's really good at this stuff, and she barely got to nationals. They didn't make nationals, and she was really upset. So the first time he ever met her, when he was entering the school or whatever, trying to practice or whatever, because him and basically how they go about this is that he, other than himself going there to practice, he tries to work hard and stuff. He goes to the auditorium, the gymnasium early. She's always there first, practicing, constantly doing free throws and stuff like that. And the first time he apparently met her, if I'm remembering correctly, is she had lost the spot. She was crying and she was constantly practicing. There were basketballs everywhere because she was upset at herself for not, she was taking it upon herself, even though she's the star player. They didn't make it, and she takes that responsibility as much as anybody else. Her dream apparently seems to be to go to nationals. Very sports manga 101, but that's fine. We know what we're reading. When we see, that is what a sports manga is all about. If we have a sports team with players that don't have that level of motivation, that aren't that passionate about it, we aren't going to connect with them as a reader. So this makes total sense to me, and it's really nice. I love the fact this is a bit of a change up. I've only ever read one other sports manga where the female was the better player. Like out of the two, you have your two romantic leads. You have your main male, your main female. Suzuka by Seo Koji was the only one where she was the badass from the get-go. Now, whether he is going to get better and stuff, and this is also super different because in this case scenario, they might be part of the same school, but they're in totally different clubs. Even in Suzuka, even though they do different sort of, she does the high jump and he does the 100 meter, 200 meter dashes and stuff like that, it's still the track and field club. This one is taking a bit of a twist to showcase us that because he's part of the badminton club, and even though he says like he's tried to play basketball, but he's a bit of a ball hog. He's not very good at the team aspect of it. And even though his mom and her mom were both like alumni players in this, I guess the school is very big on their sports programs. That's why they're both there. He's more about a single player thing. So he plays badminton, instead of any of the team aspect sports. But they play a little one-on-one and she kicks his ass. I like this aspect for two reasons. As I said, number one, I don't think I've ever seen that before, where they're in the same school, but they're totally separate clubs, and we're going to have to follow sort of both of them by the sounds of it, more so the basketball angle, which is fine, but I find that dynamic sort of strange, but interesting. And number two, she's the badass. He's not the badass. He's a mediocre player. He's not bad at it, but he's not great at it, and he sucks at basketball too. So she's the reason, she's the driving force when it comes to the sports aspect. I really love that. I hope you guys are going to love that too, because I'm excited for this series to get picked up. I'm very bad at figuring that stuff out. I never researched beforehand. Like, is the series already picked up? Is it serialized and this is chapter 1? Or is this the one shot hoping it's going to get picked up? I don't do my research beforehand. Maybe I should start doing that. Point is, I just really like these different things, because I've read a lot of sports manga. I've read a lot of romantic manga. I haven't really seen that aspect too many times before. Not saying it hasn't happened. Not saying we don't get the badass woman right away in a fantasy sort of story and stuff too. But never before have I think I've seen it combined in a sports manga quite this way. So this is a different angle and I like it. But then they're also going to pull the sort of harem ichi thing without the harem by the looks of it. They're going to keep it, they're going to stay away from the sort of the R-rated aspects of it, which is the classic, oh, my childhood friend now is living with me under the same roof stuff, which that's what happens here at the end of the chapter. She ends up moving in because, as I said, the mothers are friends. They were alumni at this school, and they're going to move overseas. But she, of course, missed out her shot at nationals. And even to this day, she's still practicing. And as I said before, I sort of got sidetracked there. That's where he first met her, if I remember correctly. And he's been inspired by her sort of ever since. And he's been inspired, but also started to like her, have a crush on her. And so throughout this manga, throughout this chapter, we're getting his attempts. She gives him a candy bar. He's like, oh, I've got this, I've got that. Oh, I embarrass myself. And she just giggles and finds him amusing, finds him funny. And she's just being very nice. Apparently that's her character in general. She is what she is. She's an interesting person, and she's a kind-hearted person, and she's driven, and she's passionate, and she's good at what she does. So this is all fine dandy, and we're getting a lot of it from his perspective. His inner monologues being a worried teenage boy who's got a crush. And it's, even though it might feel a little simpy, and you guys a lot of people are going to go there like, he's such a simp, like, I don't really like his character, like, why are we following such a simp, why couldn't he be cooler? Even though it's just a little more realistic to what a 15-year-old, sorry, Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach is awesome, but that dude's 22 years old at the start of the story. Don't convince me that's a 15-year-old, for God's sakes, so, I mean, like, nobody's that badass at that age, or very few people are. So I find this more realistic, and especially in a grounded story where there isn't, by the looks of it, it's no supernatural elements. It's very, realism, we're slice of life, we're that kind of idea. I just really like that. I really like that aspect, that he's a very natural, they feel very natural, very organic characters to me, just right out of the gate. And as I said, he continues to sort of have these opportunities with her, and it's a very slow moving pace. It doesn't feel like it's going very fast, and it's just flowing, and it's like, okay, where's this going? And then we hear that, the mothers are friends, and he's like, well, how did I never know that? It's like, oh, well, we're alumni together, and we were on the same team, so we still keep in contact once in a while, but it's very sad because she is very great at basketball and stuff. Her daughter's just like she was and just like I was, but unfortunately they're moving overseas and stuff. And he, after connecting with her and talking with her a few times and remembering that first moment they met, he rushes down to the gymnasium. He rushes to the school, and he wants to tell her, you need to follow your passion. You need to follow your dream, because I know you're so passionate. I remember the first time I met you, and she gets all embarrassed because he remembered that. She even forgot about that, but he remembered it down to the detail. And that's the first time we get the indication that she has an awareness that he is paying attention to her. He's not just being friendly. He's not just being, oh, I'm just here, practicing my own thing. I don't, it's, hi, I'm just being friendly. She's now been made aware that he's focused on her in some regard. Maybe she doesn't know it's romantic or the level yet, because he doesn't exactly come out and confess like, I like you, stay in school. No, he's not being selfish in this aspect, and he's telling her right away, even if your parents, I know it's a tough situation, but you need to follow your passion. You need to try your best, because I know, I remember the first time I saw you and how upset you were and how driven you are. This is your thing, and it's not about him. A selfless act, in my opinion. Now, you could argue the other side of it, that it's not exactly selfish or selfless, because, of course, he is motivated by the fact that he does like her. Fine dandy, but also I don't think that was part of the process. Though, on the other flip side of that, I can also see it still being selfish of him to tell her that, because she's probably very broken up by this. Of course, this isn't the direction this goes, but there was the potential for, they're only 15, 16 years old at most, right? They're 15, 16. They're high school or junior high students, right? So you can't help it if your parents move. What are you going to do? So it's sort of unfair of him to bust in there, give her a lecture pretty much, or give her a talk all about passion and drive and all this stuff, and like, I know this is what you want to do, and I know the situation sucks, but don't give up. Realistically, what is she supposed to do? She's a 16-year-old girl. Her parents are moving. Like, so you could look at it as, like, at first it's like, yeah, he's not just simping for her, and he's not doing this just because he likes her. He's doing it because she knows that she wants to continue to play basketball here at this school. That's a nice sentiment, but at the other flip side, you could see the selfishness in telling her that, were this to go a different direction. However, it becomes a bit of a safe, he's safe, because that's not the case. He tells her all this, then she goes, oh, I'm not leaving. My parents are leaving, yeah, but I'm not leaving. I'm staying with a family friend. And then at that moment, we know how the chapter's going to end, and he gets all embarrassed and stuff, because he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did all that. Oh, I'm so embarrassed, and doing that stuff, right? Which is fine anyway. Once again, realistic 15-year-old and, with a crush. And then after this, of course, he wakes up and he feels all embarrassed, and we know the direction this is going. But once again, it's a little different than the harem style. It's a little different from the Ichi style, It's reminding me a little bit more of Kimi no Uromachi, which ironically another Seo Koji work, where I believe it's the town where you live is the translation of Kimi no Uromachi, and in that manga it's the same idea. Someone just comes and lives, and then hilarity ensues. Believe it or not, a lot of people are like, that's sort of unrealistic. Does that happen in Japan all the time? Believe it or not, a guy I worked with, actually, that's how he met his current wife, and they have a daughter, and they moved in and everything. She literally came here to go to school because she wanted to get out of the city and blah, blah, blah. So she came, moved in with family friends. They had a son. They basically ended up getting together. I mean, so that sort of love story, I've actually known someone who did that firsthand up here in Canada. So if it happens here, it can happen anywhere. But yeah, so that's basically what the ending part is that he gets all embarrassed. It's Sunday. He's like, oh, the one day I don't want to see her face, because I'm so embarrassed about, having that passion-driven speech to her, and just to be like, oh, I guess I did too much, Comes down the stairs. She's standing there in the kitchen, and we knew this was going to happen the moment she said, I'm living with family friends, especially when the mother says, oh, it's so sad that she can't, blah, 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 blah. She was probably, going to tell him eventually, because that's sort of where the conversation seemed to lead, but it seemed like he ran off before she could fully explain, yeah, it's a really sad, I'm just going to have my morning coffee, and we're just going to talk. Yes, it's very sad that Chinatsu will not be able to play basketball. Her parents working overseas. It's very, very sad. So, by the way, I just wanted to run this by you. I just told you that me and her mother were friends, and we were thinking that we could let her live here so that she could still do that and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. I hope you're okay with that. Oh, he already left. Okay. That seems to be the case. I feel like that was going to be the conversation, but he sort of got himself all head wrapped and he rushed out the door before she could explain, and that's where the embarrassment comes in. But yeah, so the mother's fine with it. The two mothers are like, oh, they're fine with it and stuff. It's like, I look forward, thank you for letting me stay here. Good morning, let me, and blah, blah, blah. So great concept, really right out of the gate, because really their level of interaction between being part of a badminton team and being part of a basketball team are going to be still quite separated, even if they both practice for the first hour in the gym together every morning beforehand. That's not really a whole lot of time and a whole lot of time spent together. This forces them together. They're going to spend a lot more time together, not just him sort of creeping around her. So, I mean, I don't find he's really creeping quite yet, but, really, how would you force more time together with her without it being a little stalkerish, a little bit more like, aha, it's definitely a coincidence I was here. So, either way, I just find that this Blue Box manga is a really I really like the idea. I like the characters so far. We've only met a couple of them, but I like the direction. I like the setting. I like the characters. I really, really hope that we get more manga like this. If this becomes, I really hope the direction of this manga is solid, because great opening chapter. If it stays solid, this is going to showcase to Shonen Jump, they can have more of a shoujo level manga in their current lineup, and people are going to read it. So I hope it gets really popular. I really hope that they realize that you can have the slice of life bordering on shoujo in Shonen Jump and people are still going to read it. I think nowadays the demographic has really grayed out. It's not so black and white, cut and dry anymore. The difference between seinen, shonen, shoujo, all that stuff. I think the lines have blurred a lot over the past 5-6 years, and this is proof right here for me. So either way, what do you guys think of it? What did you think of Blue Box? I hope if you didn't read Blue Box yet, it's in the official Viz. It's free right now on Viz.com. Definitely go check it out and read it this week. I hope I inspired you to check it out, to read it, because I feel like there are more. Once again, I cover a lot of battle shonen. I cover a lot of battle manga on my channel, but I love a lot of different genres of manga. I love a lot of different things. And this is brand new, fresh off the press. I just really wanted to talk about it because I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite chapters this week in manga. It beat out Black Clover for me. It beat out My Hero Academia for me. it didn't really beat out One Piece. I mean, that's pretty tall order. But it beat out quite a few of the other series that I currently read. So, beat out Ayakashi Triangle, beat out all those. So, I just really think it's great. What did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Don't want this to be a 35-minute rant, but as I said, more of a discussion and my feelings towards this as an opportunity for Viz to do something different, for Shonen Jump to do something a little different. More so than an actual review, where the chapter was quite long and stuff. But either way, as I said before, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to drink responsibly, as always, as I always do. And we'll see you guys back here next time, hopefully for Chapter 2. If there's a Chapter 2, if this video does well, I will be absolutely sure to review the second chapter in a more review format. So, looking forward to that. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to hit the like. And tell me what your guys' thoughts were in the comment section down below. We'll see you back here next time. This has been Griever, signing out. See you later.